Hey guys, it's Steven from Tostemac, and it's time for another autism vlog. So, over the past couple of weeks, I've been getting a couple of messages or comments here and there in regards to how I address the autistic community. Some people are like, no, you have to say autistic people, or no, it's people or individuals with autism. And as you can imagine, this does make things a bit complicated. And the reason for that is because if I want to be a public speaker about this, if I want to talk to everybody about autism and educate them about it, I got to find the best way to get the message across, like finding the right words, make sure the message is clear and precise, and at the same time, I got to make sure not to offend anybody or make it so that they take my message the wrong way. So the solution I had was make a little poll or survey on Facebook in regards to how I should address the autistic community correctly. How did it go? And the reason I was getting frustrated was not because nobody was responding or commentating to it. Far from it, I was getting a lot. It just didn't lead towards one direction. It's like a constant tug of war in the comments area on whether it should be autistic or people with autism. So what I'm going to do is read some of the comments I found to you guys and then give my final thoughts at the end of the video. Now, before we begin, I want to let you guys know that due to the sensitivity of the topic and due to the passion of some of the comments I've read, the identities of the people in question will not be revealed in this video. After all, we don't want to start a heated argument or a flame war here, now do we? So let's start off with some comments in regards to the autistic argument. So, our first comment reads, I am not a person with autism. Every interaction I have is predicated on the fact that I'm autistic. For better or worse, my identity is inextricable from being autistic. Just like being a woman, just like being queer. It affects how I see the world and how I'm seen in it. Always. Huh. You know, I never really did make that comparison about being autistic, like being a woman, and it affects the world or how you see the world. And I do have to agree with this. Like, while autism is not a label for people to use or misuse, at least I hope not, autism does have an impact on how you perceive the world and how the world in turn perceives you. The next comment reads, autism is not an affliction, like cancer or the flu. It's a type of neurodiversity. Autism cannot be separated from a person, nor can it be cured. Every individual person has the right to label themselves how they choose, but every autistic-run organization I know denounces first-person language. It's primarily used by holistic people who perceive autism as a terrible thing. Huh. I never really thought about that. Like, normally when I said individuals with autism in the past, I wasn't trying to say that autism is a terrible thing. It's just I was saying that this person has autism. So I never really thought of it that way. And another way I never really thought about describing autism is a type of neurodiversity. I never really thought about using that word before, but it sounds really nice and professional and whatnot, so I may use it in the future. Our third comment from the autistic side of the conversation reads, we have been taught people with autism, but all the autistics I know want to be called autistic, a celebration of their neurodiversity. They are offended that people want to fix them, as they feel they are not broken but just wired differently, an inherited trait like the color of your eyes. Okay, I know I'm not going to reveal any identities of anyone who posted the comments there, but the person who wrote this, I want to be your friend because this is exactly what I'm talking about. Autism is not a burden or a sickness. It's something you inherit. All it means is that your brain's wired a little bit differently. That's it. That's all it is. You're just born differently, just like everyone else is born differently. And I really like how he said autistic as a celebration of their neurodiversity, basically saying, hey, I'm different and I'm proud of it. Finally, we have this comment that reads, I find it strange when non-autistic people insist on person-first language because autism doesn't define them. Because adjectives don't imply that a person is defined by them? Nobody ever says you're... I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm not laughing at. It's just this next sentence is kind of funny. Here. Nobody ever says you're not tall. You're a person with tallness. Don't let your height define you. Okay. I'm gonna take a deep breath. The only reason people say that about the word autistic and other words like disabled, mentally ill, etc. is because they think being autistic is bad. They can't seem to understand that autistic is a neutral description of our neurology, but also something we could be proud of. It's fine for people to use person-first language for themselves. I'm talking about autistic people who push first-person or person-first language onto us. So yeah, this is a really interesting comment. So I was just kind of laughing at the comment on that. Like, you're not tall, you're a person with tallness. It's kind of like me saying, I'm not fat, I'm just a person with fat. My God, that sounds so much worse. And while some people may think that being autistic may be a bad thing or it may hold them back, it's nothing more than, like you said, a neutral description of our neurology, but it's also something we can be proud of because, again, we're different, just like everybody else is different. We just have our own special way of being different, that's all. So now that we've heard some comments from the one end of the discussion where it should be autistic people, we'll now jump over to the other side and hear some comments from people who prefer people or individuals with autism. So the first comment for that reads, I think if you say person first, you are highlighting the person part and not the autism part. If it was the other way around, it's like saying that the autism owns the person and that it should be noticed first, if that makes sense. I guess it's all in the matter of preference for this one. It's kind of interesting how this person says if it was the other way around, if it was autistic, it's like saying that the autism owns the person and that it should be noticed first. Not sure if I'd really say if autism owns the person, but it does have a major factor. And it's nice how this person puts it, like, if you say person first, you're highlighting the person part, not just the autism by itself. Our next comment reads, a person is not his or her disability. I believe that people first language is a more respectful way to discuss a disability. We don't say Down syndrome child. At least I hope not. Yeesh, even saying that sounds wrong. Down syndrome child. That just sounds offensive. So I kind of like the idea where they're trying to find a more respectful way of addressing someone with disability. And I find it intriguing that this person says, a person is not his or her disability. I mean, yes, I have autism, I'm autistic, but autism is not my name. My name is Steven. And autism is not, it doesn't have control over every single factor of my life. A lot of them, but not all of them. Our third comment reads, person-centered language is how I've been taught to discuss all individuals with unique circumstances. An individual experiencing homelessness, not a homeless individual. An individual with depression, not a depressed person. An individual with autism, not an autistic person. There is so much more to a person than his or her disability or current struggle. While I wouldn't really compare autism to like homelessness or depression, I do see where this person's getting at. Like, there's more to a person than their disability or current struggle. I mean, yes, I have autism, but there's a lot more going on in the background. There's like financial stuff, there's stability, there's education, there's the schedules for the YouTube videos. So there's a lot more going on than just having autism. And it's kind of interesting how this person puts it as like all individuals with unique circumstances. That way it's not like talking about everybody as a whole, it's just saying this particular person has a unique set of skills, specialties, challenges, stuff like that, rather than just saying that depression or homelessness or autism defines their identity entirely. It's not like that. And the final comment for this end of the discussion reads, my professor told me addressing it as children with autism is more respectful and indicates that they are a person dealing with issues pertaining to autism. That way they are recognized as a person rather than their disability. And that's really important. Like, first and foremost, that person is a person. That person is not autism, or that boy or girl's name is not disability. It's a person. So it's very important to remember that part. And as for the sentence that says, it's more respectful and indicates that they are a person dealing with issues pertaining to autism, I'm not sure if I necessarily say it that way. I mean, yes, autism does have some challenges and obstacles, but that's not what autism's all about. I'd say it more on the lines of that they are a person who has a certain set of skills and challenges they have to deal with, rather than just dealing with issues pertaining to autism. Well, now we've heard from both ends of the discussion on whether it should be autistic or people with autism. On the one hand, autism does have a major factor in our lives. Like, it affects how we perceive the world and how the world in turn perceives us. It's all inherited in our brains and DNA and whatnot. And it's such a huge factor. But on the other end, autism is not everything. Our names are not autism. We have our own names, like my name is Steven, again. And it's always important to recognize that autistic people or people with autism, whatever you want to call it, at the end of the day, they're still people, and we need to see them as people with their own ideas, their own beliefs, their own goals, and we need to respect that. So, what's my final decision on how to address the autistic community? In all honesty, if you want my honest opinion, just ask the person first. Like, each and every person has their own individual preference on how they want to be referred to, whether it be autistic or individual with autism. And to clear this up, this is not a tomato thing. That would just be offending everybody. Tomato is just a change in pronunciation. Autistic and people with autism, as you see in the comments, can mean two entirely different things. And when you automatically assume it's okay to say, hey, it's autistic, or hey, it's people with autism, you run the risk of offending someone. Like, oh, so autism is all I have, or that's all about me there is, or saying, oh yeah, I'm a person, but I also have autism. So you have to ask first in order to make sure it's okay with them, to let them know that, hey, it's okay for me to be addressed this particular way. So ask first, then talk to them later. That is my advice. Well, this has certainly been an interesting vlog, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. So thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you would, in the comments below, why don't you recommend an autism vlog topic for me to go over next week? Also, we have a Patreon page. Again, I'll leave a link to that if you want to become a patron and support us. That'd be awesome. And let us know in the comments below what you think about this, about how they should address the autistic community. Do you think it should be autistic or people with autism? Why or why not? So let me know. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and until the next video, see you later.